Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Katrina Sargent, owner and creator of Devil Doll Custom Creations. Today we're going to be doing a tri-split tumbler like my previous one, but with a water slide instead of clear cast. We're going to be doing it in multiple sections. We're going to be doing the glitter section first, then the water slide, then the hydro dipping. To start, you're going to need a prepped tumbler, and then you're going to measure off sections. This is only a 15-ounce skinny, so it's pretty small. I want my top section to be 3 inches. I want my chunky glitter to be a full inch, and my bottom section will only be 2.5 inches. So I'll just take my pencil and I'll mark it at the 2.5 inches from the bottom, a couple places around the tumbler, so I have a guide for when I tape off the section that I want to keep white for my water slide versus what I paint for my glitter. And now I'm just going to take some tape and run it on the bottom of the lines. So I will have 2.5 inches from the top of my tape to the bottom of my tumbler, because I am going to be painting the top section. After I got done taping, I added saran wrap to the bottom to keep it white, and then I spray painted the top of baby pink and added a little bit of shimmer here and there of rose gold. So now I have 1 inch for my chunky glitter, and then I will do my fine glitter on top. First, I'm going to do the fine glitter, so I'm going to take a 1-inch painter's tape and run it along the top of the painter's tape that's already on the tumbler. This is the perfect size when you're wanting 1 inch band. You don't have to do anything special to it, just mark it off, and then you can go on to your fine glitter on the top. I am going to be using Mod Podge as my glue for the fine glitter. I kind of just slop it on and then use my brush to kind of even it out and make sure there's no massive streaks in it, because it will show under fine glitter if you don't correct that. You kind of need to work a little bit faster with Mod Podge because it dries way faster than if you were using epoxy for this. Since I did a base coat close to the color of my glitter, I only needed 1 coat of glitter to get full coverage. If I'm happy with it, I will remove the tape. I am going to now seal this once the Mod Podge dries a few different times with clear spray paint. Once that is sealed and dry, I then take tape and just kind of run it along that glitter. It will not remove your glitter at all if you've sealed it correctly. Chunky glitter lays best on epoxy versus Mod Podge, so I barely put any on the tip of my finger and run it between those 2 pieces of painter's tape. Make sure you don't have too much, because if you do, you might get a drip, you might get the glitter to move. And then you're just going to add your chunky glitter. I wanted some of that pink base color to show through, so I was happy with it then, but you might need to do 2 coats or do a base color closer to your chunky glitter. Once you're happy with it, tap on your chunky glitter with parchment paper or wax paper. It gets the glitter to lay flat. That's going to save you time later in the epoxy steps. Then you're going to remove all your tape, take your piece of parchment paper, lay any pieces that might have moved or are sticking up, and then let the epoxy and the Mod Podge dry fully. Then you're going to take a tape and tape just on the other side of the glitter to be able to seal in your glitter fully. I seal it about once with the clear spray paint before I move on to quick coat, which I'm going to do here. I just put some quick coat in a medicine cup, and I usually do 1 section at a time because the glitter still is going to move. It still is raw glitter at this moment, and I kind of tap it onto my raw glitter. If you have any glitter that moves, it's really easy to remove it at this time. Let the quick coat dry fully before you move on to epoxy. If you're a beginner and haven't actually epoxied, I will be starting doing beginners tutorials, and I will explain the epoxy process, or you can search. There's so many different ones that tell you step by step. You need to make sure you clean up that bottom area very well, since we are doing a clear water slide on it. Now we're going to move on to the water slide section. The top part is fully cured. This is one of my favorite artists off of Etsy. I absolutely love their clip art and their digital paper packs, this is a digital paper pack, and I sized it to fit my tumbler section. You need a space for water for your water slide, a silicone brush if you want, and a work towel. I actually prefer my water to be slightly warm. It just kind of releases the water slide off of the backing easier. You need to work with water. Keep your tumbler wet, keep your hands wet. Anything you use, you need to keep wet. Silicone brush, anything. Don't pull on your water slide because you can rip it or distort the image. You gotta go gentle with water slides. So I kind of just gently remove the backing a little at a time. It's best to try to leave the backing on long as possible. See, I'm just kind of pulling. I prefer with just using my fingers and kind of tugging gently onto the water slide to move it where I'd like it versus the silicone brush or something. You're gonna see water, you're gonna see air, little bubbles, you're gonna see ripples. All of this stuff is completely normal. That's why you need to keep moving it with your fingers. Keep your hands wet though. If you have dry hands, you can pull off some of the color off of your water slide. So I normally get it wrapped first and then worry about the top and the bottom. Here I'm just kind of trying to see what kind of seam I would like. I unfortunately did not plan this out very well when I designed it to be a seamless design. That was my fault. But you'll see in a little bit, it kind of hides it. And then I just removed the extra with a sharp X-Acto knife. Sorry, my head keeps bobbing into the camera feed. I didn't realize how much I hunched over my water slides to make sure I wasn't ripping them or anything. Once I have majority of water or bubbles out, I will then take my shop rag and gently rub it over the water slide to dry it slightly. To get the bottoms, I'm just going to take my finger and run it over the edge of the tumbler. It does kind of give a little bit of creases. If this bugs you, you can figure out something, a best way to do it. Maybe trim it off right before that edge, or maybe put a circle of vinyl on the bottom to hide it. Once this is dried for about an hour, I will then take my very sharp X-Acto knife and run it along my glitter's edge to cut off the extra water slide off the top. Once that's dry, I'm going to add a little bit of Krylon from Feather Bear Bling to my epoxy just to give it a slight shimmer. You don't have to do this. After I use my heat gun and torch, I'm going to add a little bit of that mix that's in the band onto the water slide just to give it a little bit more bling, as well to try to hide that seam I didn't like. You're going to tape off the places you don't want paint at. I have another video, my first tri-split tumbler that I hydro dip also, that goes through all of these steps. Also on my channel, I have a hydro dipping only video that I hydro dip 3 different tumblers, and I go through intense detail on everything I'm doing. Just add a little bit of your magic marble paints at a time onto your water surface to create the design you're looking for. I went beige to rose, And since the champagne is a metallic, I always do my metallics last. Well, colorless is technically last, but that's just to add the breaks so you see the pink glitter underneath. Take a skewer or a stir stick, make a design in your water. Once you're happy with that, add colorless. If you're wanting your base color to show, which is that pink glitter, I want it to show. Then take your tumbler and at an angle, slowly twist your wrist as you submerge your tumbler into the water. Once it is fully covered to the tape, then you're going to shake off the extra so you don't mess up that dip. If you're happy with it, once it dries for 10-15 minutes, you can remove your tape and everything. And once your quick coat is dried, you can move on to epoxy. This is my last time going to be doing fast set because fast set is not made to be the final coats of your tumbler. You're just epoxying over the hydro dip paints and making sure where you're going to be putting your metallic lines are going to be smooth. I did not record me doing my vinyl strips in this video. If you want to watch my previous tri-split tumbler, I go into complete detail how I created both of my lines. Here I am just finding the back seam so I can line up my strips to face the same direction as that seam. I am laying a metallic rose gold first, and then on top of the rose gold, it is a baby pink glossy vinyl. When you're doing your lines, you want to make sure you're holding your vinyl somewhat taut, but not stretching the vinyl out. Then once you wrap around your tumbler, just cut off the extra at that spot, and then you go on to your top line. Do the exact same thing like you did for the rose gold. And then you're going to do the exact same thing for the bottom lines. You're going to want to make sure your vinyls are fully adhered. So make sure you run your fingers along them before you move on to the next step. I definitely use quick coat over my metallic vinyls because they tend to develop micro bubbles if you don't. Now here I'm on my potentially last coat of epoxy, or second to last. If you didn't do the rim, which I forgot to record between these steps, or if you have not full coverage over your vinyls, you're going to be doing a second coat. But if you do have to do a second coat, you're going to be doing the exact same thing: wet sand, wash, dry, and epoxy. I can't get over how adorable this tumbler is. I hope you liked this tutorial as much as I liked doing this. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're notified anytime I have new videos uploaded. Thank you.